What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right. So let's talk about this. So both Draymond Green and Kenyon Martin have been in the news as of late. It all started a couple of days ago when Kenyon Martin was on a podcast. The name of the podcast eludes me at this time. I'm sorry about that. But he was asked about the great tough guys, the great enforcers in the history of the NBA, right? He named a lot of dudes. He named the Davis boys, Oakley, Charles Oakley, PJ Brown. He named a lot of different players. When one of them brought up Draymond Green, Kenyon Martin said, and it's not the first time I heard him say something like this, but he said, Draymond Green is not really a tough guy. He's a dude that's a beneficiary in the era that he plays in, a very soft era, and he's calculating. He picks and chooses who he does the Mr. Tough Guy act with. You know what I'm saying? So, and I think most people agree with that. We've seen instances where, he'll attack certain players, throwing bolo punches, kicking guys in the testicles, and, putting guys in chokeholds like he's a maniac. But when it's someone like Isaiah Stewart or some of these other guys who really will fuck you up, he don't want none of that smoke, none of it. So Draymond Green responds on his podcast, and he attacks Kenyon Martin's resumes. Kenyon Martin is a one-time All-Star. Draymond Green, I think, is like a 3-time All-Star or something like that. 4-time NBA champion, Defensive Player of the Year winner, which he campaigned all fucking year for that season. So by his estimation, Kenyon Martin can't really say anything about him because his resume is inferior. Right? Now let me say something about that. Kenyon Martin also played in a much more talented era as far as power forwards, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? He played in a much more talented era when it comes to power forwards. And Kenyon Martin, at various times in his career, was the second or third best player on whatever given team he was on, whether you're talking about the Nets or I would say the Nuggets. Draymond Green has never been the second or best player on any team he's played on. Oftentimes he was the worst starter. Usually he was. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, Kenyon Martin comes back with the ether. And the ether is Kenyon Martin named 50 players at the power forward position all time that he thought was better than Draymond Green, right? He named 50 players at the power forward position that he thought was better than Draymond Green. So the list goes as this. Now, he didn't name himself, Kenyon Martin. He says Giannis Antetokounmpo, Anthony Davis, Dirk Nowitzki, Charles Barkley, Kevin Garnett, Tim Duncan, Dennis Rodman, Karl Malone, Chris Webber, Amari Stoudemire, Chris Bosh, Rasheed Wallace, Pau Gasol, Elton Brand, Anton Jameson, Zach Randolph, Carlos Boozer, David West, Jermaine O'Neal, Sean Kemp, Derek Coleman, Danny Manning, Larry Johnson, LaMarcus Aldridge, Blake Griffin, Kevin Love, Al Jefferson, Drew Gooden, Josh Smith, Tim Thomas, Antoine Walker, Lamar Odom, Jason Williams, not like chocolate, but the one that was the power forward with the good hair, I guess you'll say it, right? The one that had an unfortunate incident with the limo driver. Horace Grant, Otis Thorpe, Paul Millsap, Juwan Howard, David Lee, which really got a sting because it was the injuries to David Lee which ultimately led to Draymond Green becoming a starter. Draymond Green was a bench rider before David Lee started having injury issues. Al Harrington, Rashard Lewis, Kevin McHale, Nene, Popeye Jones, and Reggie Evans. I don't disagree one iota with Kenyon Martin on the players that he named. As a matter of fact, I would name some others that he omitted. The biggest omission that he doesn't have on that list, off the top of my head, is Bob Pettit. Bob Pettit is one of the most decorated power forwards in NBA history. The difference between Bob Pettit and Draymond Green from a skill set perspective and dominance perspective is like the distance between New York City and Tokyo, Japan. Another person that he omitted is Dal Shades. Dal Shades was way more impactful and more dominant than Draymond Green. Another guy that comes to mind, Tom Heinsohn. Tom Heinsohn was better than Draymond Green. Vern Mickelson of the Minneapolis Lakers was better than Draymond Green. Mr. Mean, Larry Smith, is better than Draymond Green. Kenyon Martin, I know he didn't name himself, but he's better than Draymond Green. Bill Bridges was better than Draymond Green. Happy Hairston was better than Draymond Green. Truck Robinson was better than Draymond Green. Tom Googly Oogly Outta Baby was better than Draymond Green. Horace Grant's brothers, Harvey Grant, was better than Draymond Green. Hell, I'm not sure that the late, great Rodney Rogers wasn't better than Draymond Green. I'm trying to think of other people who I might have forgotten who I need to put up here. Because I know there are others that I'm just not thinking of. I know of some others that I'm not thinking of. But off the top of my head, yeah, what I added about 10 guys. So that's 60 something, that's probably 60 guys that's better than Draymond Green at the power forward position. But he's a first ballot Hall of Famer? Hell, Xavier McDaniel is better than Draymond Green. Tom Chambers is better than Draymond Green. Terry Cummings is better than Draymond Green. What are we doing here, man? Buck Williams is better than Draymond Green. Rookie of the year of the New Jersey Nets. Buck Williams is better than him. Man, Cliff Robinson was better than him. 19,000 career points. Man, come on, man. Like, we can push this up to 70. Look, let me say this for in this video, man, because I don't want to make this too long. You know what the difference between Draymond Green and Dennis Rodman to me is? Draymond Green is a good defender, right? But Draymond Green benefits from playing in an era of low IQ basketball where, you know what I'm saying, if you're a smart defender and you think two steps ahead of the player you're guarding, you get them in a position where they're least effective on the floor. A lot of times these guys just want to show you up any goddamn way and make some stupid ass goddamn 39-foot jumper instead of making the more efficient play. But anyway, Draymond's a good defender. He can outthink his opponent, right? And he's good at a lot of, you know, the mind games and things of that nature. But what he struggles with, which is why I know that he'd be another Byron Houston if he played in the 90s, is that he's too small to guard bigger players. See, people say, oh, well, Draymond's only 6'5". Yeah, but in Draymond's little prime in the 2000 teens, how many great big scoring men were there in the NBA? Remember, it was like after Dwight Howard rise, it was like most of the great players were offensive, were perimeter players, right? Do you really think that Draymond Green can stop a Giannis or stop a Jokic or stop a Wemby? We saw that the other day. He can't. He can't stop those guys. He couldn't stop DeMarcus Cousins. He's an impactful help defender. But Clay, people forget, man, Clay was very critical for those championship teams because Clay was a great two-way player. And Clay was often guarding the other team's best offensive player because in this era, everything's pushed to the perimeter, and most of the most impactful offensive players are perimeter players anyway, right? So when you look at the championship years, Clay was often guarding the most impactful players. And in 2022, after Clay had his injury, he went the same. Who was it that was giving, guys like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown fits? It was Wiggins. Andrew Wiggins, not Draymond Green. Draymond Green was almost invisible. Now, contrast that with Dennis Rodman, who in his prime literally could guard 1 through 5. Literally could guard 1 through 5. Go on the perimeter and guard Michael Jordan. Also, even though he was smaller, Dennis Rodman, 6'7", 225, I've seen him, at least in stretches, effectively guard Shaq, giving up over 100 pounds. Not to mention he was a GOAT rebounder. Mind games on 1,000, and could impact the game in a way defensively that Draymond couldn't, not to that degree. That's the difference. That's why I don't put Draymond on that level. But anyway, that's all I got to say about it. Tell me what you guys think.